Hello, thanks for taking a look into my new video, which is actually a tutorial for using a Voxel-Editor called Qubicle Constructor. You see it here loaded. We don't have yet a model in the tool itself. The goal of this video is to give an introduction into this editor. I started using it some weeks ago and have been looking for some tutorials. Did not find too many of them, so I thought, okay, let's share what you have learned and maybe one or the other will find it useful. Maybe it makes you the start with this tool a little bit easier. So that's all I want to achieve. Let's start maybe with a slide or first overview about the tool. So you see here the work area, this grid layout on the screen. Here we will create and modify models. You see it has three colored lines on the workspace: blue one, green one, and red one. They are used for navigation purposes and to move later on the models, and also for some of the functions. So just give it a little bit more navigation actually on the workspace. We have a menu. Most of the menus are reflected also in icons. For example, the create menu. You see here different forms you can create. A box will create a box like this. The same is here, the icon for create a box, so it will create just the same, a box. So the same is here on the modify part. It's mostly this gray outline here with flipping, stretching, rotating, and other functions. We have here some more functions, like if I move here these menus, we will just take a look on these menus in a second. And you want to remove them back to the origin, you can go via move, view, reset floating menus, and then they will be just back on the place. You have a rendering function here. We'll take a look on that a little bit later in the video. And some settings which probably I will not touch in this video, but if I go into another one, which will handle the bit more the advanced functions of Qubicle, then I will cover this one also. Here you see some import functions in different formats, export. They might not be available for you if you are using a free version of Qubicle. So there is a free version, which is great. You can just download the tool, test it, and it has full functionality apart from the export, which is not working, and some of the more advanced settings. So you will not be able, for example, to adjust the hue of the colors, or you will be not able to create an extended form, which is a landscape. But that's not really limiting you in your work. So just go ahead and try it, download it. It's available on the website of minddesk.com. So just give it a try. Here we have some more shortcuts to options, like removing the ground or the grid on the workspace by pressing this icon. We can remove the wire on the model by pressing this icon here called wire. And turntable resolution gate we will take a look into in a second. With shadow, you can just put in a shadow on your model, and camera view I might cover also in another video. It just gives you an option to save a second camera view and jump from one camera to the other. You have here then, as an additional means of navigation, this cube. So you see we have here one cube, here's the same. Perfect to show it. So all the different sides of the cube are here labeled, and if I click on the label, it will center on the right view. If I click on the front labeled part of the cube, it will center on the front view. And you can do this with all the sides. You see the back, the bottom. So that's great if you want to work precise and have a direct view from the front, from one of the other angles. So you can go ahead and use the tool. To navigate here on the workspace, you can use the mouse wheel to scroll in and scroll out. You can use Alt and the left mouse button to turn around the green line, so rotate around your model actually. And you can use Alt and the middle mouse button to center the workspace somewhere else on your screen. So that's the way it works. And again, turning around will work again on your green line. So if you move the workspace to another place, it will turn then around this point. We have different edit modes. We are now in the model mode. We will just jump into in a second into the other ones. And you see the tools which are grayed out. They are only available if you are actually in one or the other edit modes. So also nothing special there for the moment. It's not too many tools actually. It's quite powerful. You can do a lot of things, but it's not overdone. So it's not too complicated and you don't get lost in tons of tools. So I like this quite a lot. And on the bottom here we have the color map. That's the standard colors which are predefined. You can just pick the color you want, left click on it, and do your modifications with this color. The selected one you see here in front on the left. If this is not enough for you, you can just click on the selected color, left mouse button, color picker tool pops up, and you can either put in the RGB code or you could choose it here from the color maps and then take this greenish and work with it. You have here also in the standard color map some free spaces. You can add your colors, always the active one, by clicking the red square on the bottom left with this plus, and you see it will add the color in your map. You can manage also your maps, so you can, if you prefer to work with totally own colors, just delete the whole color map. And now actually I have one of my old ones. Let's say here we clear it up. So if you want to start from scratch, go clear color map. You saw just different maps because I had created already some. So we said clear color map, all empty, and then you can start picking your colors you want to use, add them to your color map, and then you can go ahead and save it, share it, reuse it. That's all possible here in the menu. So save, open is loading actually, so that's quite convenient here, but I will go with the standard colors for the moment. Okay, so here we go. Now let's go into the editing. I will delete the model, selecting, pressing delete, and restart it, so we start from the scratch. There are actually, I would say, 3 different ways of starting with a model. One would be to load an existing model which you have created or someone else has created and shared it with you. So you can just load it. I can just do this right now. I have prepared one. So file, open. We don't save, and here I have a bed. So there we go. We have a model which someone created. Actually, I created it. In one of my other videos you can see speed replication. Replication because it's an existing model from a game which is called Stonehearth. You can just check it out on stonehearth.net, and they have actually some videos and screenshots of models they are going to use, and I copied it here in Qubicle. So that's one way, so you could just start working on that one. The next one would be you start on a blank screen, and let me just move the bed a little bit away. And here you have 2 ways now to do it. Either you start with a big block, let's say, that would be like sculpturing. Let's say we take it, make it a bit bigger. So I created here now a cube, right? So let's start this, start over. So here you have the tool to create a cuboid. So that's it. You can choose the width, height, depth of it. I just turn everything to 25, and you see in real time it's working here. You could switch also between the different types, which is here the different icons, and the color. Let's stay with what is here. And there we go. So that's now my big block, and I could start sculpturing, removing voxels more or less until the shape I want is there. The other way would be exactly the opposite. I start with, let's say, just 1, 1, 1. And that's my starting point. So I have one voxel, and I start adding items until, voxels until I have like a model like this bat. So depending on what you like more, I most of the time start somewhere in between. So I take a medium block and then I remove a bit, add some other parts, and that's the way how I achieve my models so far. So you see, whatever I select has a yellow border. This yellow border is the matrix which belongs to your model. The matrix limits you in the area which you can edit. So here the bat, I cannot edit the bat outside this yellow borders. So you see the front is quite at the border. There is no place anymore. So if I want to add a nose to the bat, it will not work. I would need to adjust the matrix first. And let me take a look and show you how this works. So here on the left, on this icon line, you see that some of the icons became available once I've selected the model. And the first three ones are to adjust the size of the matrix. So the first one, looks similar to the dialog which you see if you create a new model. Here you can adjust the size of your model. You see the actual size, and you can adjust the size. So if I want to add a nose, actually I need the depth, and I will go, let's say, to 20, and it will add the voxels partially in the back, partially in the front. So it tries to do it even. So if you add 10 voxels, 5 will be added at the back, 5 at the front. So you see I have more space. And that works also in the height, in the depth, in the width, wherever. Then the next one is actually to optimize the matrix size. So now let's say my bat is ready. I don't need all the remaining space. I click on the button and the matrix will shrink to the minimum size I need for this model. So everything is now limited. The front, the back, the wings are at the border. So it's really optimizing the size of my matrix. And the last one actually I show maybe with the small one voxel model I have here. If you want to increase the size, you can here stretch something. So let's double the size. I switch from 111 to 222, and you see the one voxel became a square or a cube or of 2 by 2 by 2. That works also in the other direction, so I can shrink things like that. Works best if you take if you multiply the number. So if you go from 1 to, okay, with 1 it's quite easy, but let's take the bat. I want a giant bat, so I could just double the size. So just double all the numbers, and there you have the bat in a bigger version. Now with Control Z I can undo my last activities. I just did this, Control Z. If I want to stretch it and I don't double the numbers, but I don't know, I go to 45, 15, 20, the result might not look like it was originally, right? So it's a little bit deformed. You can use it if that's by intention, but otherwise pay attention that you just multiply the numbers or add the same amount of voxels in all directions. Just play around a little bit. That's the best way to find out things. Okay, so now we know how to adjust the matrix. So if I want to do something with this one, I just double clicked it, changed automatically into the matrix mode. if I want to change this one cube or one voxel model, I will need to increase the matrix, right? Because here 1 and the yellow border becomes here a white border. I will be not able to attach something. So if I want to work on that one, let's do the same. Let's say it's 10, 10, 10. And now you see that I have a matrix which is 10 by 10 by 10, and it has one voxel filled in the middle. And now if I double click it, I could start working on it, and that would be my starting point. The same here on the big one. If it is too limiting at one point in time, I can just expand it. And with that, I explained it already. Okay, so now you see they are not on the same height. You can fix this, for example, by centering on the front here on the top left. And you see that this matrix is a bit underneath this horizontal line, which is actually my baseline. I define it like that. And if I move it up, then now they are all on the same place. This helps a little bit later on if you want to work with more than one model. If you want to put models into relation, then these lines will help quite a lot. So now we have been all the time in the edit mode model. You saw already briefly the next edit mode. Actually, it's called matrix. You can go there by either clicking here on the matrix or double click the model you want to edit. And I'm just here, but let's do it maybe with the big cube. So here we are. It's again the same ways to rotate. So you can hold Alt down and move the left mouse button, also the middle mouse button. Everything works as in the model view. Now you see something with the color. If you start, the predefined color is white. Now here on the bottom you don't see the grid anymore. There are some colors, the extreme ones, very bright and very dark, which are not so nice for modeling with it. So I selected now black. Let's take this paint bucket tool and fill everything black. And now you see there is no grid at all. So if you want to work precise and remove one voxel and maybe the third voxel, then it's not possible with black color. So what is here a small tip? Take always some colors which are more in let's say pastel colors, like this bluish here. That's much easier to work with, and you see always the wire is visible, so that's easier to work with. I will just use this color and save it here in my color map also. So what do we have here then in addition? We have some tools which I would like to introduce now. The slicing edit mode we will just take a look into in a minute. So the first one is the movement tool. That's actually something which is available in the model overview. It's the only tool available here, and it just allows you to move around actually. So that's not the most valuable tool maybe, though without movement we would be lost here. We have a Marquee Tool. With this Marquee Tool, left mouse button, holding it pressed and moving your mouse, when you release it, all the voxels which are touched by this selection or are within the square you have drawn will be selected. I release the left mouse button and you see here was the rectangle, so everything in all directions is selected. Right, let's do it again, maybe at the back. So we assume now that this part here will be selected, right? That's what happens. So if you want to select just something from a straightforward view and not to have these strange angles, you can just select again your model here on the cube on the top left, for example the front view, and then you can select this part, press delete, and you carved out a perfect cube in the cube. Well, it's actually not a cube, but close to. So Control Z again, I want to undo it. If you have something selected with Control D, you can unselect it, Control D. So that's the selection tool, this rectangular tool. We will select later on with the magic wand, and I can show a little bit more what you can do with the selected voxels. Then we have here a pencil tool, which is actually drawing, let's say. Let's select a different color, and then I can color single voxels with the tool. So that's quite straightforward. Something which is nice, if you want to color a line, color the first voxel, go to the end of the line, hold Shift down, click left again, and you will have the line. So now the endpoint is actually my first starting point, so I can just hold Shift, click on the next endpoint, and continue like this. You can very fast color larger areas or complete lines with a new color. So holding Shift down is something which works quite nice. Let's skip the next one and go to the eraser tool actually. So the eraser tool allows me to remove voxels. Just clicking on the voxel, it will be removed. Again here, the Shift key works, so I can just by holding down the Shift key and pressing always on the end point, remove voxels also in lines. So we have here carved out now a pattern. And the adding tool works again the same. It will just add voxels, and I can add them single or I can add them in lines. Again the same, holding down Shift. Now the good thing is that this works not only horizontal or vertical, but you could, for example, and let's take the pencil tool, color also a diagonal line here, like this. And it works throughout the model. So this is expected, right? Now let's take the third voxel, just one down. I'm holding down Shift, pressing the button. What happened now? Now behind this first voxel line I would expect a green line. Let's check if this is the case. It is. Because again, this tool is painting then throughout the model until I reach the endpoint. Now it happened also, and inside there you have a weird pattern. Adding does not work everywhere. As said, here pressing left mouse button doesn't work because I've reached the limit of my model. So if I want to add something on top, again I need to go here, add some more, not that much or that many, but some more voxels. So now the border is a bit outside. I have one line more at least, and then I can start adding here. So that's the way how this tool works. Let's move to another side, and actually now let's keep that. I will remove that once. The next one is the rectangular tool. So it will paint actually similar to the rectangular marquee tool. You see the selection, same way, left mouse button, hold it down, move your mouse. If you release, everything will be not selected as in the marquee tool, but everything will be painted. So again, here always with your preset color. So that way you can paint wide areas. And the delete tool we had already. If you want to paint the whole, you can use also the paint bucket tool. Let's select a yellow-orange color and you click on it, and it will replace all the voxels which have the color of the voxel you are clicking on. Now it's getting complicated. So let's make an example. Let's make here some red patterns in the middle of the cube. So if I want to paint now, and it looks really horrible, if I want to paint them now blue, I could click just on the one of the red voxels, and you see all of the red voxels will be painted. So the paint bucket tool works on all of the voxels with the same color you are selecting. So you see there is no need to change the color of every individual one, but it works only on the exactly same colors. Then we have a fill hollow tool. That's now a little bit more complicated in terms of it's not very obvious what this tool is doing just from the beginning. Let me prepare this cube a little bit. Let's have a straight view on it, and I just remove, to make it easy, one part out of it. So I've selected and deleted. So that's now the new model we have. Now there is a third view edit mode, which is called slice. If I move into the slice mode, actually you see again a straight view on the model and somehow shaded. So what Qubicle is doing here, it will center and it will show you only the first layer, which is the first line of voxels here. And here you have on the ground like 10 voxels which have color and then some others which don't. So if I go here, that's the lines with color, that's without. And here you see a slice overview with the direction, so you can see the slices also from another view. And you see the number of slices. So I'm now on slice 1 of 27. Here you have a scroll bar which can move you through the slices. So you see the number increases, decreases depending on where I move to. So slice number 1 is the first slice. It's all a bit gray, and that's because actually the first slice, let's take a side view, is empty. So there is no voxel painted there. You can make this a little bit more visible. Here is a second view button. We click on it and just move this here to the side and enlarge it a little bit. And when I move here, just take a look what happens on this second view. You see an indicator which shows me on which slice I am. So here the second slice starts actually with my model. As I move in, slice number 12, you see we make a jump from just showing this part to the whole. So that's actually the slice view. You can walk through the model slice by slice. And that's quite handy sometimes. For example, here, now I have the slice number 2. It's the first part of my model, and I have only the lower part here colored. Now I would like to extend it to the upper part, so I can actually go there and add single voxels here. And you see as I add them, the model grows. You can do this also a bit different. I skipped the view by accident. Take the filling tool. If I fill now here the not visible voxels or not occupied voxels, they will all turn purple. Right? Just as we learned that this tool is actually coloring all the voxels which have the same color. Here it's no color, so all of them become the purple ones. So you see, that's what I did here. Now let's go back into the slice mode. And I was on the front. So that's now slice number 2. Slice number 3 is again the same as before. Now, if I not only want to fill the empty space on this one single slice, but on the whole model, so this whole area, I could use the fill hollow tool. And if I do the same now as before, just fill it, you see that everything will be filled which was empty so far. So that's the difference. My fill hollow tool is filling the whole complete hollow space. And yeah, sometimes it's quite handy if you want to work inside your model, if you have there something you want to adjust. Just imagine we can maybe generate something that this cube is kind of a house and I want to have windows in there. And that's my window. let's say there is a wall which is 2 voxels deep. So that's it. And now should start the inner space of my house. It's very annoying to model this like that. So go into the next layer, then you have to change because the angle is not working anymore. Then actually the house has everywhere free space, not only straight into the model. So I need to edit these pieces here. It really becomes annoying. So, and you see, make even mistakes. So you can use here the slice mode, for example. I think that was the right view. 1 we said is the window, 2 is the window, 3 starts the place inside. Let's take the selection tool. Let's select this, delete, and I've started with my inside. 4, let's do the same. 5, just to demonstrate it. So I'm now removing voxels inside the model. And if I go into the matrix mode again, you see that now I removed them inside. You see it there, right? If not, let me cut this part off here, and then you can see in, and here you see what we did in the slice view. So that's the way the slice view works. Now we have, and let me paint some other voxels in a different color. So there is actually a tool to select the colors. So here is a make a selection, sorry. The magic wand tool. I click on the yellow voxels, it selects me all the yellow boxes. Same with the purple one. So that's a nice tool to select a specific color, and then you can, for example, delete. All of them are gone. Right, so it's quite interesting tool to select, as we did it here with the rectangular marquee tool. Just by colors, and the other one is by shape, more or less. And the last one is an eyedropper tool. So let's assume we painted something in yellow. Okay, that's quite white, not yellow. Let's take yellow here, and then I switched again to a purple color, and I want to have it reused, but I did not save it here. Then you can just take the color picker tool, and there we go. We have it selected as yellow. We can edit now. You can achieve the same by holding down the control key while you have the pencil tool on, for example. Then you switch automatically into the color picker. So that's also quite nice. So that's enough now about the cube. Let's remove the 2 cubes. Let's go back to the bed. So we saw how to change, manipulate with the tools here, how to use the different edit modes. Now I can do a little bit more than that with the tools available. We can rotate with the icons up here. Let's keep the first one. Here you see X, Y, Z, and they are colored actually red, green, blue. And that's not by coincidence. That's actually related to the colors of these arrows here and of the lines you see on your workspace. So if I want to rotate around the X-axis, I press here and you see it turns upside down. The same with the Y-axis, turns left, right, and with the Z-axis it turns also. So that's the way how you can just easily rotate them. If I'm in there, you can do some quite nice things here actually with this. So let's assume I've been working on coloring the wings. I was not happy anymore with the color of them. So I did not want to have them purple, but more in a green direction. Why ever I would like to have it like that. So let's just prepare it. And actually my model is symmetric, right? So the left part looks like the right part. So I could now just do the same on the other side, but it takes me as double the time, right? So to make this a bit easier, you can center. We adjusted the left side, so we will just delete the right part of our model. So I selected the middle. Let's remove it. I select the remaining. I copy and paste it, so I have it twice now. And then I go into my modify flip. I can flip it on the x-axis, and there we go. We have the model just flipped. I can now here join it or merge it. So I have now the two parts of my model combined again. Control D, and there we go with the bat. And it has both sides now yellow. So that makes your life a little bit easier if you have larger models and if they are symmetric. So that's quite nice feature. So that's what we did here. There are some other functions I don't want to touch in a beginner tutorial. Maybe on a second one then. We have here a turntable. So if you press on this turntable, you will see that your model moves. That's nice for you to take a look from different angles. But you can also share your model as a GIF file, animated GIF file, which will reflect this turntable actually. So to do so, we can actually activate a helper, which is the next button, resolution gate. This will show you exactly the size of your GIF file. Turn the turntable on again, and then you see your model moving in there. You can align it a bit, so that should be still fine. It's big, it's not out. Here it's out, so I scroll out a little bit. This should now work, and I just look until it's finished. I can align also the angle. Now it works. Okay, I stop the turntable and I say render turntable as. I can call it test, save it. It takes a little bit. Let's just wait for it, and it will save it as a GIF file on the directory which you have selected. So I will just open the picture in a second when it's finished. There we go. Let's open it, and here you see the bat turning as a GIF file. So it's a quite nice feature, and if you don't want to have it as a animated GIF, but you still want to share it with friends, you can, let's take the resolution gate off again, you can render as, and just save it as a PNG or BMP file. So we do the same, call it test, goes faster this time, and here we are, we have a picture. You can just scroll in and change the angle, and that will be reflected then on your picture also. So that's a quite neat feature, I think, to also show your models and share the designs with others. Okay, so that have been more or less the basic functions, the basic things you can do with Qubicle. There are more possibilities. You can play around with cameras, with generating landscapes. As mentioned, some of the features are not available in the starter edition or in the free edition, so you need to purchase the tool. However, it's not that expensive. You can just check on their homepage. Actually, that was again www.minddesk.com. And other than that, I think that's it for an introduction. I hope it helped. It was interesting. It shows a little bit how to get started. And yeah, I would be happy to hear from one or the other who has started working on own creations and maybe see what's the outcome. So thanks a lot for taking a look into this tutorial. If you enjoyed it, just step by in a few days. I hope I can create a second video again on Qubicle Constructor showing a little bit more details. So thanks again once more. Have a nice time.